Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Elets Agriculture Innovation Summit. So we just ended a wonderful inaugural session, which was participated by Secretary of Government of India in Agriculture, Secretary Animal Husbandry Government of India, CEO of National Rainfed Area Authority, and also two international speakers from British High Commission and Ghana High Commission. And our chief guest of this conference, Mr. Jai Prakash Dalal, who is Minister for Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of Haryana, was also there. Now we are moving on to the next session, which is a panel discussion on role of information technology in agriculture and allied sectors. The future is here. In this session, we'll have our eminent speakers from different states. So you see on the screen, Mr. Nand Kishore. He is Director Horticulture, Department of Agriculture, Government of Bihar. We have with us Mr. S.K. Das, Director, Indian Institute of Technology, Ropar, IIT Ropar, Punjab. Dr. Mukund Rao, he is Chief Executive, NIAS Center for Analytics and Advanced CSAG, National Institute of Advanced Studies, NIS Bangalore. Mr. Amit Tom, Chief Operating Officer, Agritask, and Dr. Ravi Gupta, Founder and CEO of Elets Technomedia. In the middle of the session, we'll also be joined by one more panelist, Mr. Sumnesh Joshi, who is DDG of UID Government of India. This session will be moderated by Dr. Ravi Gupta. Over to you, sir.
Uh, Namaste and welcome all the speakers. Thanks for joining us here. And this session is having a topic of role of IT in agriculture and allied sector. The future is here. So we have been listening about that IT has an important role to play in the field of agriculture, and we have been listening to it for more than a decade now. But it seems that now it is like IT in the field of agri is like being talked about a lot, and it is coming in the policy documents of the government at the central level and the state level, and we are looking at lots of startups which are talking about agri and agri IT, and we are seeing and listening about the case studies in this sector. So what are the challenges and what are the opportunities of IT in agriculture sector? We will discuss here, and let me welcome all the eminent panel here. So let's start with our Dr. Mukund Rao, who has been a veteran in this field. He was earlier with ISRO and now with NIAS, National Institute of Advanced Studies. And I will request each of the panelists to speak briefly for 4 to 5 minutes each in the initial comments, and then we can like take more questions. So requesting Dr. Mukund Rao to speak first about the agriculture and IT opportunity and challenges.
Yeah, thank you, Ravi, and nice to see you after such a long time, though online.
Same.
And
Same here.
thanks, Arpit. Nice meeting you, and a very good morning to Mr. Nandakishore, Professor Das, and Amit, and others, and to all the participants of this Agriculture Innovation Summit. It's a great pleasure for me to be with all of you. So what I'm going to do in the next maybe 5 minutes, the time that I've been given, is just give you a quick brief of how we are looking at information technology and farmers. And these are something that we are doing in our activity that we are doing right now. So I just want to share one sort of a slide that I would show you. I don't know whether you're able to see this slide now. Are you?
No, not really. I can't see it. Is your screen share enabled?
Yeah, I just enabled it.
Okay. Deepak asking my backend team. Deepak, can you check? Like, is it enabled?
So I just shared my screen. I'm saying my Chrome tab. My application window. Okay, so I should get my application window now, and okay. So I think you should be able to see it now.
Not yet, actually.
Yeah, it's time
Not
to
yet.
share.
Yeah, please share. But yeah, yes, it's
You can
yeah,
see the screen
yes,
now.
yes, 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 yes.
So, I'm from the Center for Spatial Analytics and Advanced GIS, and I must mention that many of the ideas that we started off here, I'm going to talk with you. I have been discussing with Ravi almost for some 20, 25 years now, and I know when he met me in 1997, 98 time frame, many of the ideas that I'm going to talk of, we have discussed with him and his colleagues at the time who were very active in the field of GIS and remote sensing. So CSAG is actually a not-for-profit, which is under the National Institute of Advanced Studies, and the National Institute of Advanced Studies is in Bangalore, established by JRD Tata, with the main aim of developing knowledge base in advanced topics. And one of the advanced topics that we work on is on spatial technology and GIS. And we have been working with Tata Trust and with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to really look at how we can strengthen a farmer. So for us, a farmer is the ultimate stakeholder in the whole ecosystem of the country. And if we can strengthen him with technology, I think then a lot of benefit is going to come not only to him, his family, but also to the country and society in general. So Tata Trust and Nias have joined together to take up this activity, and we established activities that Tata Trust has asked us to do is to develop an agricultural GIS. And as you will see this single slide that I'm going to sort of present and talk over, basically, this is a plot level advisory that we want to address to the farmer. We feel that if a farmer has to be really benefited by the technology, then his plot of land is the fundamental economic unit on which we should be working on. Anything which is not addressing his plot of land, we have seen that the farmers are really not interested about. So Tata Trust has identified about 532 villages in Odisha state, and we have identified 150,000 farmers. And right now we are working on 150,000 farmers with 150,000 farmers, and each plot of land which is sometimes less than a zero point 0.1 acre and sometimes hundreds of acres and so on. But the idea is that we enable the farmer with the easiest understandable information by using data analytics and artificial intelligence. So whatever we technologists want to do, we should not burden the farmer with, and we should be able to give him easily understandable solution which he can implement, which he can understand, which he can act upon, or he can even reject, saying that I don't accept this information. So our very comprehensive data analytics framework, which is a very robust mechanism of looking at each plot of land of the 150,000 farmers and then giving a prescription to them about what they should do in the cropping season. And we give this prescription 5 times in the cropping season at different crop stages like pre-sowing, tillering, emergence, harvest, flowering, harvest, and so on. So we focus on a tremendous amount of data handling and data analytics, which is a fundamental technology that we feel can power farmers. And we are very careful on one thing: we don't burden the farmer with jargons and words and technology and all. We strip away everything at our end in the center, and we provide the information to the farmer in easiest understandable in his local language, in Odia, in the way he can understand and implement on the whole thing. And we believe that, in the future for India, if farmers and agriculture have to really grow, data is going to play a very important role. And today the world, as you know, is simply booming with the volumes of data that is getting collected, something like 30 to 35 zettabytes of data every year, which is voluminous. And if in India farmers are to benefit, they must access this information, and they must be able to access and process it for them so that they can easily understand it. In India, we have about 1,000
No, it is
You are
muted.
on mute, sir.
Yeah.
You are on mute.
Okay.
I think
Sorry.
there is some technical
Am I
issue
audible?
at the end of Dr. Mukund.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some.
So let's. I think there is like some issue there, and may I request Professor S.K. Das from IIT Roper to kindly give your views, sir.
IIT Rupert comes into this discussion in a very specific way. You may be knowing that just 2 weeks back, the Department of Science and Technology has approved 17 centers, hubs for ICPS, interdisciplinary cyber physical systems. And out of those 17 hubs, only one hub is for application in agriculture and water, and that hub will be located at IIT Roper. The DST has approved 110 crores for this particular hub. Of course, this is only the source money, and then you have to do a lot more things with the state government, central government, private organizations, local people, and so on. So in that sense, we do have some vision to do this. Now, if I look back in India, the Green Revolution was successful at that point of time in its parameters then. Why? Because first thing, it took scientific inputs for the first time. The policies were decided not by the people sitting at the administrators' chairs, but it was scientists. It was M.S. Swaminathan who was involved. The second thing was, at that point of time, it was concentrated in one region, this Punjab Haryana region. Why it was not done all over the country? Firstly, we didn't have the resources. Secondly, the kind of information, its collection, dissemination, analysis, etc., that was non-existent, 50 years back, 60 years back. Now, what the present information technology, including other cyber physical systems, artificial intelligence, data analytics can do, they can do exactly this work, which is first take the data, look at the analytics, come with a solution, and then disseminate it to the agencies, first through pilot projects and then going to the public. Now, the technologies, there are many technologies which are available all over the world, which are very low-hanging fruits. But the problem is that if you start thinking India as a country, you will be making mistakes. Problems of, forget about Tamil Nadu and Punjab, even Punjab and Haryana are different. So the technologies need to look at the data and then appropriate technologies be developed. Now, these are all general things everybody knows. Everybody keeps on talking. I will come to very specific things. 3 things we need to do. First thing is scientific analysis has to be done by scientists without any intervention. I'm telling it with a sorrow that it doesn't happen in India. With due respect to all civil servants, I'm telling, I have seen in a number of places the administration, civil servants, they try to dictate what will be the policy without consulting the scientists. I'll give you an example. Environmental problem. You look at all environmental boards, pollution control boards, national green tribunals, who are sitting there, all current or former bureaucrats or judges. The only people who are not there in environmental control boards are the scientists who are concerned with them. Unless and until you bring the scientist into focus, nothing is going to happen. Because what the problems are, it is known only to the scientists. So the first thing that you need to do, a change in the policy itself, this development of technology, testing it on the ground, the persons who will be in charge should be scientists, technologists. This is the first thing. The second thing is that You must create certain hubs like the hub which is created. Not everybody should do everything. Today, we have got, 50 agricultural universities, 20 agricultural and technology development centers. Nobody knows who is doing what. We must have a national plan who is looking at what on a regional basis, on a technology basis. And the third, we need to connect it to the other kinds of technologies which are very much related. I have seen in all governments, this is a problem in all governments, irrelevant of who is the which is the political party and which is the the region and all that. That the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. Today, even the right hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. It happens in government because of the complex system. It happens. It's not criticism of anyone. The thing is, for example, water resource and agriculture. If the two departments make independent policies, nothing can happen because for agriculture, maximum amount of water which is required to be used is for agriculture. Now, if the water resource policy and agriculture policy do not go together, then nothing will happen. So, the coordination. So, putting the scientific community at the center of it, center of the development. Of course, the civil servants will be at the center of implementation. Scientists cannot implement. So, the center of implementation should be the administration, but they should give feedback. That, sir, you have given this technology, but this technology doesn't work because of this problem on ground. They will give the feedback. But the solution should come from the scientists. And the third one is government departments should work in unison, not individually. I would say if these three things happen, you leave the technology development to us, we know what to do. You look at how to take it to the people, that let the administration do. And then you join hands with all the departments, institutions who are working together to use the strength of data, to use the strength of analytics to come out with solutions which can take the country and the farmers forward. Thank you.
Excellent inputs, Professor Das and Dr. Mukundrao. We had lost you in your presentation, so I will come back to you again. I will request other speakers to speak first, and requesting Shri Nand Kishore, who is the Director of Horticulture, Department of Agriculture, Government of Bihar, to give your views briefly on the IT in agriculture sector. Nand Kishore ji, please unmute yourself.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. It's really a pleasure to be a part of this discussion. The topic is very specific, and Government of Bihar is doing some sort of intervention in these issues. So I would like to discuss on few specific points. Like Government of Bihar has developed a data that is DBT portal data. In this data, we have collected more than crores of farmers' data. They have what they have done. They have registered themselves with their Aadhaar-based authentication. So here, what is happening? We have data of all the farmers, most of the farmers, and what we have done, we have linked all our schemes of agriculture and horticulture with these data. If any farmer who is not registered with this DBT portal, they are not going to get any benefit from the government schemes. So what was the outcome of these data that I like to share, because that is very important. We have almost data related with the different category of farmers. Then they have which kind of activity they are doing. We have some sort of information, and if we have to plan, we have to do any uh, any work, any strategic decision, we take advantage of these data. So this DBT portal, which Government of Bihar has developed, Agriculture Department has developed, it is unique of its kind, and it is very successfully done. And right now, it is still continuing, and different farmers are registering themselves in this portal. Apart from that, right now most of the schemes which are running in Bihar, they are online. If any farmers they want to register or apply for any benefits, government subsidy or any scheme benefits, they have to apply through online only. So this is again an role of information technology. And in some of the schemes, what we have done, we have used this information technology to monitor those different schemes. So how it reaches till the farmers. For example, I will cite an example of Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, that is PMKSY. Under one component is per drop more crop, and in this drip irrigation is an important component which I am looking after. So in that scheme, we have already developed a portal. In this, everything is timeline. How many days, if a farmer applies, how many days companies had to respond, in how many days our concerned block level officers or district level officers, they have to finalize the application. Then GPS survey has to be done. Then again, that is fixed in a timeline. And then again, at final stage of verification, we have fixed a timeline of 7 days each. And at headquarter also, the payment to the farmers, it has to be done within 2 days. So overall, compliance, it took maximum 2 to 2.5 months, which is very fast as far as PMK drip irrigation scheme is concerned. So again, with the help of information technology, we have achieved the target of PMKSY. And earlier, what we are doing, we are taking it in the offline. And the moment we went this online, the farmers has freedom to choose the company from which they want to get their drip irrigation, and in a transparent manner. And the implementation of a scheme has become very fast, and the monitoring is also relatively very easy. We, on a click of a button, we are getting reports, and accordingly we are scrutinizing different our officers as well as companies. Recently, we have done one thing in COVID-19, because Bihar is famous for Sahil Lychee, and one specific variety of mango, that is Jardalu mango. These two products are GI tag GI tag products. So these we tried our level best to develop a market facility for these two products during COVID-19. What the directorate did, we just developed a online platform, and we linked the farmer producer organization to the consumers directly, urban consumers. And we find that this linking, only simple linking to farmers and uh, consumers, helps the farmers a lot. One way it helps because they got the consumers easily, and second way is the price they got is much more than what they were getting earlier. The reason being, the price differences which they were got is, that is the middleman used to take it, that farmers got that price. And other thing is, the moment we did intervention and we put a price tag on that, the most of the other wholesalers or middlemen, they procured the lychee and mango almost par with that price. So ultimately, the benefit to the farmers, it got by 1.5 times, which is quite relevant. So these three examples I was trying to cite for this summit. And basically I am interested in listening what are the new IT interventions are there, so that we can use it. And I'm very much mm, appreciate the idea of Professor Das, because uh, the job which is assigned to the person, they should do that. Uh, Scientific community, they have the role to develop different technology. Specifically, in my directorate case, I can assure that, or we are all, I am already doing that. I take the projects from different colleges and university, and we are developing so many technology from that. Like makhana is, you may be knowing, that is foxnut. Foxnut is a dry fruit, which is most of almost 90% of foxnut is produced in Bihar, and we are trying to process it. We are trying to improve its popping capacity. For that, we are totally involved our scientific community, and we have involved them in on farmers' fields also, how to improve the productivity. So I really appreciate the view of Professor Das, and thank you again for inviting me.
Sure. Uh, धन्यवाद Kishore ji, and may I request our next speaker, Mr. Amit from Agritask, to give your initial comments, please. Amit.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Amit Noam. I'm the CEO of Agritask. Agritask is an Israeli-based agriculture software company, and I'm calling you from Israel. So great to be here. I'll try to share my screen. Let me know if you can see it. I'll just do a very short presentation. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. So I want to talk about how we use IT for agriculture rural development. And a lot of times we talk about IT to help the farmers, but we need to understand that the lack of data doesn't affect only the farmer, it affects the entire ecosystem. Because once we don't know where the farmer is, what is the risk, what is grown, what is the status, the entire ecosystem is affected from that. It's the governments that want to give the service to the growers, and the bank and the insurance that need to give the credit and the insurance products, and also the input providers and the buyers. And at the end of the day, it causes all of this ecosystem to be in a problem, because all the services are suboptimal. It's not sustainable, and we think we need to look at this problem from an ecosystem view. And when you look at it from an ecosystem view, there's a path that starts with mapping the growers, that at the end of the day, you will be able to get to a place where you connect the entire ecosystem together. And it starts with mapping and understanding exactly who grows what where, and have everything in what we call a digital infrastructure. And once you have it on the digital infrastructure, you can provide a lot of mobile tools that enable to optimize a lot of the things like pest and diseases, like monitoring yield prediction and things like that. And you start being able to provide more and more tools and more capabilities to the growers themselves. Then you're able to add everything related to remote sensing, because a lot of the things, as was said before me, you don't want to bother the farmers themselves. There's a lot of things, there are a lot of insights you can get from analyzing satellite images, things like yield prediction, like problem in the phenological stages and the growth and things like that, and also through weather data. And weather data, you can give alerts to the growers and understand a lot of the problems that coming in, and you can help the entire ecosystem remotely to give advice to each one of the growers. Now, this is on a specific grower level, but for a country or for a municipality or for a region, you suddenly have an integrative data platform with all the growers together that can help make decision on policy making, on which subsidies to give, on the effectiveness of subsidies. Once you have everything in a common digital infrastructure, you're able to really understand what is the situation going on and start upgrading the growers. And the last part is to connect the rest of the ecosystem, because the insurance companies need the same data in order to do risk analysis, and the financial institution need the same data in order to be able to provide better credit products to the growers. And the idea is, if you can put all of them together, you can really upgrade the entire ecosystem and give the farmers what they need, not only through direct advice, but through bringing the ecosystem closer to them. Just a few examples. This is once you're able to see everything digitally, geographically on a GIS platform, you know who grows where, what are the different crops that are being grown. You can see everybody together. You can provide them with mobile tools that enable all the farmers to start reporting data on pests, data on the soil, and a lot of data that starts to build this digital infrastructure. And suddenly you have a centralized view for each plot on what is the situation for each type of pest. And you can start fighting pests and diseases in a much better way, because you look at it at the regional view and not only on a specific grower level. On top of that, you can add a lot of remote sensing capabilities in order to start analyzing things like potential production. So you know what will be the expected production at the end of the season. And you can start giving performance scores and risks to each one of the growers to know which ones you need to help more, which ones might be growing something that is not fit for their soil, and things like that. And once you have all that together, you can start doing decisions on a regional level that connect all these farmers together. This is just a small example of how you can do a spray planning map of integrating all the data together to decide how you deal, for example, with the pests and diseases on the regional level and not specifically on the farmer level. In addition, of course, you can provide alerts to the growers. You can build predictive models and give them a lot of the things that they couldn't have today without information technology, without this digital infrastructure that connects the entire ecosystem together. Of course, you can benchmark them together. This is an example of how we were able to compare yield with fertilizer advice to see the effectiveness of different models and algorithms. But you can start defining best practices for the region or for specific crops, and suddenly start giving tailored, personalized advice to each one of the growers by understanding the situation on a regional view. And just to conclude here, so I don't run out of time, the idea is, once you're able to build a common digital infrastructure, you're able to combine and upgrade the entire ecosystem together. If it's the government, if it's the research institute, because a lot of the data can go to the scientists to start developing the right model that can come and help the farmers later. Of course, the farm input companies, all the people that are providing the credits, the off-takers, the banks to the growers. But the idea is that we want to see how we leverage it to not only help the specific grower, but help the grower by connecting the entire ecosystem to him and giving the data that is required in order to help him upgrade his operation. So thank you very much, and this is what I wanted to share.
Am I audible? Hello?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yeah. So I think there is some connectivity issue at the end of Dr. Ravi Gupta. So now I'm taking over the session. So as the theme suggests that we are discussing here the role of information technology in agriculture. So you see, in the inaugural session when we were discussing broadly about redefining agriculture and allied sector in post-COVID era. So now I would like to take views from all of you. What impact of COVID-19 do you see in agriculture sector, and what is the exit strategy? Uh, how will we get out of this? and what should be the uh, uh, roadmap ahead from the policymakers perspective as well as from the academic perspective. I would request Mr. Nandikishore to share his views. Then we'll go to the other panelists.
Actually, during COVID, farmers, few specific farmers faced very different kind of problems. Like uh, one specific group of farmers is beetroot growers in Bihar. Actually, their market link was big cities of Bihar as well as outside of Bihar, and the consumers are mainly in hotels and big events like that. So they didn't find their market. So ultimately, they almost lost their crops. We tried our level best to provide them some sort of storage facility, but again, there is a limitation for that. How many days that can be stored. So here there must be some sort of intervention, some uh, processing or some things must be there so that they can do that, and at least they should get some kind of price. The other group of farmers are flower growers. They almost lost their whole crops because flower is basically used either in for the purpose of worship in temples and different religious centers, or in the case of different functions and also almost all these activities stopped during COVID-19, and these farmers lost their crops totally, no market available, and they couldn't manage to market their produce. So again, in the case of flower growers, specifically loose flower growers like marigold and all, then flowers that are grown in protected condition like Jarvera, cut rose, they also lost their crops, lakhs rupees the farmers lost. So these two are major losses. And apart from that, what I think, because in, this was a totally unforeseen situation, so no one was prepared. But in most of the agricultural activity, Department of Agriculture tried their level best to do some sort of intervention and provide them some benefits. Like Bihar is famous for honey production also. So in that case, we even during the lockdown, we uh, gave clear-cut instruction to administration of district as well as police that the boxes of in which honeybees are reared, their transportation should not be hindered at all, so that their migration should not be stopped, and finally the loss of honeybees should not take place. So these kind of interventions we took. Again, in the case of seeds, which is very important, the transportation facility, because of almost initially it was no transportation facility, so availability of seed was an issue. And Hajipur, a place in Bihar, is famous for early variety of cauliflower seeds, and these seeds goes to almost all part of India for early cauliflower. So they were not getting proper facility. In that case, we linked those producer to postal department, and finally they managed to supply their seeds to different part of country, because ultimately in that case the losers may be uh, the seeds growers. Apart from that, the farmers also, because they will not get timely seeds, and ultimately crowd will suffer. So some sort of intervention is required in such situation. And in my view, some post-harvest management on farm gate, like on-farm management, uh, minimum one on-farm management, which can be linked to the different big farms and big companies, big food processing companies. That is required, and that will be helpful to the farmer in price stabilization as well as getting the uh, uh, improving their income also. Thank you.
Right, sir. Very valid point you raised. And supply chain management has been affected due to COVID badly. And as you told that you have tried to link the producers to the market, and we must appreciate this. And thank you for sharing your views. Now we are moving to the next speaker, Professor Eskedas. Over to you, sir. Please unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is that we have an advantage that, if you come to IIT Ropar, you will see that we are in the midst of green. We are on the bank of Satluj, the most fertile part of Punjab. We are there. And I personally interact on a regular basis with the local farmers. And it's a bit of positive and negative story both in the as far as the impact of COVID is concerned. Positive in the sense that this is the sector which after lockdown was the first one to open up and start operating. Government also gave first relief to this sector only, and the farmers grabbed it completely. In fact, if I look at the last crop, which was Rabi crop, which was taken, uh, probably number of trucks, because from Ropar there is a railway station, and the trucks, miles after miles, trucks used to be there to take the crop, and I didn't see any difference between last year and this year. So I think the harvesting activities, etc., went off very well. And the next news is that the sowing of this Kharif crop has been done very well. In fact, it is even better than last year. So in that sense, agriculture sector, in terms of production, I don't think has suffered much. But as Mr. Nandakishore said very clearly, certain sectors were hit because of the lockdown, because of the lack of activities. As he said very correctly, the hospitality industry is almost closed down. And as a result of the special kind of requirements of hospitality industries, special kind of crops. For example, I'll give you an example of the mushroom. Right? Usually, mushroom is not a very popular food in Indian household, but in hotels and chains and all that, it is very popular, and those farmers have suffered. Similarly, as he says, flowers and so on. So that is one thing, and this supply chain, that is also another problem. The third problem is there is additional pressure on them when the migrants labor came back. See, naturally, the production is same, but now there are more people, and although the government support came, the fact is after a certain point of time, the migrants labor who went back home, they started feeling we should go back to work. I'll give you an example. In our campus, we at the time of lockdown, our construction activity for next phase is going on. At the time of lockdown, we had 750 workers. Today, I have got 950 workers. Because not only those people who went home, they have come back, even additional people have come back. So what I'm saying that there is also another kind of a pressure building up in the rural sector, in the agricultural sector. So I think the key, Mr. Nandakishore said very correctly, I think supply chain and marketing is the part in which we have to stress at this point of time. And this is the kind of activities in which our data, our analytics can help a bit, a lot in future crises like this. So I think our fortunately the spread of COVID is less in the rural sector, but their markets are in the urban sector, which is hit, and that's where lies the problem. I think connecting agriculture to the marketplace, to the cold chains, is one thing which can be one of the priority activities of the technology in the years to come.
Yes, sir. You very well said. And when you are saying technology, so we have a technology expert with us, none other than Dr. Mukund. So I would request him to briefly share his experience of AgriGIS uh, in your program, which is happening in Odisha. I have read a lot about that. More than 1.5 lakh farmers are being benefited out of it. So can you please talk a little about it? Sir, please unmute yourself.
I still don't know at what stage I got cut off last time when I was speaking. But just to mention that from a technology perspective, we are developing a very comprehensive data analytics solution for 150,000 farmers in Odisha. And this year in Kharif, we are already into the pre-sowing level, and we are interacting with them. And we have done a measure of what impact technology can bring to them. And when I say technology, I mean varieties of technology that we deal in. We deal with satellite images and do a lot of comprehensive image analytics to determine the current status of the land in terms of the crop status, the soil status, the land status, the water status, and so on. We do a lot of near real time weather forecasting projections. We get weather projections in India from IMD or from other agencies, but we have got a technology by which we are now able to convert this into village level weather forecast. And we provide this village level weather forecast on a daily basis to the government of Odisha and to the villages in Odisha, so that at 8:30 in the morning they have the village level weather forecast for not only for the next 3 days but for the next 15 days. So we do a lot of analytics activity for this particular weather forecasting at village level, which is basically taking the national forecast and projecting them to the village level. We do a lot of crop suitability analytics to determine what is the best suitable crop for that plot of land of the farmer. And we integrate 14 parameters of soil data, a lot of rainfall data, average rainy days in the season, the average rainfall in the previous season, and so on. And we have a comprehensive crop suitability model which determines for every season what is the best suitable crop that that farmer can grow in his crop of land, depending upon the crop suitability, also the market suitability, and other integrated analysis. We also do a lot of beneficiary analysis to look at the social and the economic condition of the farmer. How well developed is he socially? How economically is he deprived? Depending upon the size of his land, the size of his family, the nature of his family, the amount of debt that he has got in the previous years, access to market, and so on. So multiple parameters are taken. Just to suffice and say that a lot of data, we almost deal with more than 200 parameters of data on a regular basis every day. And we have churned a lot of data analytics to come to this robust mechanism by which we generate crop advisories for the farmer on a daily basis. So our portal provides access on a real-time basis, the advice for that plot of land. And we then convert that very comprehensive information into simple SMS text. And we transmit this SMS text to the farmers on his mobile, and we interact with him through a call center, and we convey the information of what we have churned out in the data analytics directly to the farmer. This we have been able to do, develop the methodology, and this year in Kharif 2020, we have started this operationally for 150,000 farmers. And out of 150,000 farmers, we have taken 10,000 farmers as test farmers where we are measuring the impact. And the pre-sowing advisory, which we gave away in June 3rd of 2020 this year, and we have been interacting with the farmers, about 11,000, 10,000 of them, and we have noted that 70% of them accept our information which we provide, and they have sown the recommended crop in a very successful way. And about 90% of these farmers want the village level weather advisory. One of the things that I have learned, and I would tell the panel and to Elets, is I think the weather system data has to really go down to the greatest granularity. We need weather prediction and weather forecast right up to the village level. Providing district weather estimate or providing a taluk weather estimate is really not going to serve the purpose of Indian farmers. And we need technology to come in and do this weather forecasting, weather data assimilation directly at village level, and then disseminate it to the farmers. The second thing that we have sort of experienced and done is the agricultural advisory is a very complex system of information for the farmer. And he is not in a position to digest all of this scientific data that we churn out in terms of the NPK values or the soil depth, the soil texture, the weather condition, the El Nino changes or the satellite image resolution and all. We need simplicity as far as this advisory is concerned to the farmer. And we have been able to work out very simple advisory statements in Odia language. Of course, this has to be in local language, and we transmit this information in local language, and it must go instantly to the farmer. No use of giving information to the farmer after 5 days, when he needs it. We are developing methods by which daily basis we should be able to communicate to the farmer through SMS, mobile technology, and call center technology, so that he is having access to that information. So we feel that data analytics can certainly support the requirements of the farmers. No doubt about it. Some of you can share our advisories. We can offline distribute it to the people. I've given a small note to Arpit to distribute to all of you. But the advisory has to be very simple. And that is where analytics and very forward-looking artificial intelligence and deep learning techniques can come in. So this is what we have done, and with the measurement that we have done in 10,000 farmers, we are going to monitor them until
I think again there is some technical connectivity issue at the end of Dr. Mukund. We are not able to hear him. Okay, so by the time he joins again, let's move to the next panelist. We have Mr. Amit, known from Agritask. So Amit, under the Self-Reliant India campaign of Government of India, a big plan has been made to bring the famous products in every district to the market of the country and the world. This is the vision of our Honorable Prime Minister. Where do you see uh, a role for startups, agri startups, companies, those who are working in food processing sector, technology players mainly, especially those who are providing technology like artificial intelligence, IoT to the agriculture sector, and manufacturing units of smart farming equipment. Uh, how do you see, where do you see a role for these companies and these stakeholders?
Okay, so in my view, you need to look at it from a total supply chain point of view, because it's the supply chain that starts with the providing the inputs to the farmers, and then they grow, and you need to provide the agronomic advice to the growers when they grow, and then you need to connect the off takers, the buyers, to the growers, and then you need to continue the supply chain until it gets to the supermarket. And there are a lot of things related to, first of all, you can build a marketplace that connects everybody together. You can build a traceability system that enables you to do full traceability from the farm to the fork. And I think that, given your question before about COVID, in my experience, COVID has enhanced the adoption of digital technology in agriculture, because what the supply chain players, the entire ecosystem, happened to it in COVID is that the farmers continued to farm, but they weren't able to go to the farms and meet the farmers and discuss with the farmers like they did in the past. So suddenly they were blind to what's going on in the field, and the ability to have a view of what's going on by using remote sensing, by using weather analysis, and by having a digital platform that enables them to see all the different moving parts in the system, enables to continue working in COVID. We always laugh that that agriculture technology for farmers, it's like what Zoom did from working from home. It just enables business continuity. And I think that through COVID, agriculture technology enables the business continuity, and it enables to connect the ecosystem, the supply chain to the growers. And I think in every part of the supply chain, whether it's the farm management, or whether it's the traceability, or whether it's the marketplace and the connecting of things, that all the different parts of the chain need information technology, need agriculture technology in order to optimize this entire chain. Because you need to, I think, and of course in the government level, you need to look at the entire supply chain, look at all the problems, look at all the gaps, look at all the holes in the visibility, and implement the relevant technology in order to give you full visibility into the supply chain.
Good inputs. When you talk about implementation, so let's again get back to Dr. Mukund, since he holds long experience. Sir, how difficult is to implement these technologies in public sector, and what is the adoption rate according to you? Please complete your previous talk and answer to my question. Dr. Mukund, please unmute yourself.
We have been in the field for quite some time. What we feel is, as far as the technology is concerned, it is pretty mature. Satellites are available, GIS software is available, cadastral surveys have been done, farmers database is available, and they're all there. But the point is, this requires tremendous system integration. We have to integrate various systems. We have to integrate the satellite image system, the weather system, the record of rights. We have to integrate the social systems, the economic systems, and so on. So the challenge of this data analytics, artificial intelligence, and IT solutions is to bring all of this together. Unfortunately, in India, all these technologies are never under one umbrella. For example, the agriculture department, which is the final stakeholder for agricultural activities in the country, like Mr. Nandakishore here, does not have an umbrella system by which he accesses all this technology. He will have to go to an enterprise for satellite image. He will have to go to IMD for weather. He will have to go to somebody else for the GIS software. And by the time the agriculture department starts integrating all of this, it becomes a massive job of system integration for them, which is very, very difficult. What we feel is we need different types of organizations which bring in the expertise of agriculture, like the agriculture department, which bring in the expertise of IT technology, artificial intelligence through the technology that is available, but they are socially facing organizations to the farmers. So if we can visualize this sort of a system and enable it so that farmers only interact with the socially facing organization and not with the technologists, not with the agriculturists, scientists, etc., and so on, but they talk on social terms, on the terms in which they understand. So we need a middleware socially facing organization to address this thing. And CSAG wants to demonstrate that in India, if we have to bring a change, we need these social organizations. And CSAG is one such social organization where we talk to the farmers in the language in which he understands, in the language in which he needs. We don't bring in technology, jargons, and other things which we keep away in the overall frame of things. So to that extent, it is a very challenging thing in India to do it. But it's not a difficult thing. It is something that can be done. And we are demonstrating this in Odisha. I know that some others are demonstrating in other parts of the country. The government is very keen to pursue this. I think we need a framework to do this and take this up in a massive scale. And I would suggest to the government of Bihar here, Mr. Nandakishore, try to develop a socially facing organization which can help you to do this and bring in all the technologies in this. And one last point I would certainly say is that this can't be done right away in the commercial frame, in the industries. Because ultimately, if industries are going to look for profit, this is not going to return profit to you for the next few years. Maybe 20 years down the line, it is all okay. So we need very strong social character organizations to push this and be sensitive to the farmers and address their social and economic issues at the rural level and in the farmers level. So I think the onus is for the government to take the lead. It should develop such platforms in every state and enable organizations to socially work and engineer the change that is required. And that social organization can bring in the back end technology of all the industries and other activities that are required. But ultimately, the benefit has to be to the farmer. And if the farmer accepts this, I think then that is going to bring a real social and economic revolution in the country. But convincing him is also quite a tough task. But I can tell you with my limited experience, if the farmers see commitment and they see that that information that they want is available, then they are really going to be accepting this in a very big way. So I think these are the challenges, but it is something that is challenging us, and it can challenge many other organizations. We are willing to work with other organizations and develop these technologies. That's why we work with Tata Trust, we work with Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and other agencies, and we'll be very happy to share the knowledge and everything that we have got and pass it on to whoever wants to take it on and help them, if required, to take this particular activity. Ultimately, in our goal, the farmer must be happy. And if the farmer is convinced, then this technology can really, really bring a big revolution to the millions and millions of farmers that are there in the country. Thank you, Arpit.
Thank you, Dr. Mukund. You talked well about the happiness of farmers, which is actually the need of the hour. And government, social organizations, and technology players should work in close coordination to make farmers happy, especially in these difficult time of Corona. So I would like to inform all of you that we have been joined by Dr. Arjun Singh Saini, Director General Horticulture, Government of Haryana. We welcome you, sir. Thank you for joining us. And uh, we are discussing role of information technology in agriculture and its allied sectors. So I would like to understand and know your views about the role of IT and how you are implementing technology in Haryana in your department, horticulture department. Over to you,
Yeah,
sir.
thank you very much, Mr. Pitt, and very good afternoon to everybody. Sorry for my late joining. Actually, I was in another video conferencing with our government secretaries. You know the agriculture and IT. Now the IT is becoming a new hub for agriculture. IT is new hub for agriculture now. There are a lot of things are happening in Haryana, and a lot of things are happening in agriculture also. But there are 5, 6 major interventions where we are concentrating more and more. Recently, Government of Haryana uh, uh, has make it mandatory. There is a one portal, is a Meri Fasal Mera Byura. You might be aware of it. This is a portal, is IT-based portal where the farmers have to register for themselves which crop they are growing in the particular season, and whenever they go to the market for sale of their produce, then through this portal they are able to sell, and the amount is also being credited into their account. This is initially for only for grain crops. Now, what the Haryana is government is thinking is to extend this facility, to use this portal to all across the farmers and all across the this agriculture and allied sectors. Now it's become mandatory. Every farmer has to register in Meri Fasal Mera Byura. Then from this portal, the beauty of this portal is this portal is linked with e-Khareed and e-Girdavari. Means in Haryana, every record, every land record and revenue record is digitized. Means automatically whenever a farmer fill their information, it automatically capture the information how much the land that farmer has. Then only the farmer has to fill which crop he is going to take, whether it's agriculture crops or horticulture crops. Then it become very easier for us, for our field functioning extension officer, just to go and check whether he is growing that crop or not, and whether he is able to get benefit of that particular scheme or not. This is a very good initiative by the state government. Similarly, uh, Similarly, for the other initiatives with the horticulture department have taken is one of the pesticide residue. Actually, pesticide residue is, this is our prime concern. As you all are aware, there is a lot more percentage is coming up in the residues in not only in horticulture produce, even agriculture crops have it's range from 15 to 20%, even some of the contaminants have. Now, what we have done is to support the farmers, we have started an e-pest surveillance program. When it's a portal-based disease identifications, the farmer can identify the disease and upload on the portal, and then in turn he get the advisories. So then we have started this in 12 districts, and in the next year we are going to cover all the districts in the Haryana. So by this way, around 22 districts will be covered. What we have observed for the last 2 years by adopting this IT-based technology, that there is a reduction in the use of pesticide as well. Means farmers are not panicked, at least on those cluster areas where this program is being taken up. We are taking this project with the NCIPM, National Center for Integrated Pest Management. They are in ICR body, and they're located in IARI New Delhi. This role of IT you see now in not only the crop production but in the management of the disease control also. Then another initiatives, we have number of technology centers. We call it a center of excellence for demonstrations and for different crops. Right now we have around 11 such centers, and out of these 11, the 5 now they are IT enabled. Means there we have precision farming equipments and other precision farming technologies which are being used at the center of excellence now for fruits and for vegetables and for beekeeping, etc. And the weather-based based on the climatic conditions, we do prepare our own graphical chart for crop management. Then another way of talking is what I am talking is the actual use of the IT in our day-to-day activities in our department. Now another is farmer producer organizations. It's aggregation of the not only the farmers aggregation, it's aggregation of producers as well. Now with the new trade ordinance comes up, now it will become more important. The farmers play a proactive role in this business. Now we have another portal for it, and where farmers can register themselves. They can form FPOs and the online registrations and the online transfer of data, and then the registration with the under the Company Act. All those things are IT based. And then after registration, then we do map their field. Now we have digitized their farmers' data within that FPOs. And almost we have covered around 72,000 farmers as of now, and each and every farmer can be identified through digital map. And this is how now they are moving. Now we are coming on the second step with the FPOs through IT-based technologies, how to manage their produce. On the aggregation of the produce, they can be IT enabled, and then whenever they want to sell their produce from their warehouse or pack house to the different traders or the market intermediaries, then of course that another portal we are making. And another one beautiful schemes which we have made is a Bhavantar Bharpai Yojana. That's we call it in English we call it a price protection scheme. You know that vegetables are not covered under MSP type of things. But in Haryana, 19 crops have been covered under this price protection scheme. So we call it a Bhavantar Bharpai Yojana. Whenever the price of the price of the produce falls below a certain protected price, a determined price, then that difference of the price is paid by the government to the farmers. And this become possible only by use of the this IT technology. We have a portal of the Bhavantar Bharpai Yojana portal where farmers do register there, and they do register their crop also whenever they sell their produce in the mandis, and then on the basis of their sale receipt, what we call a J form, we automatically determine how much the today price is, and how much the price of the produce which we have fixed. If there is a difference, if the price is higher than the our protected price, then farmer get nothing. But if the price is lower than that one, then we pay the price in multiply with their produce they have sold. Now this way, for the last 2-3 years, we have already paid around 12 crore rupees to the farmers through these schemes. And now we are coming up another scheme for horticulture crop insurance, where Now the advanced technology IT we are going to use now it's in now. I think it will take some time, but we have prepared that schemes. Within 2 3 months, it will be in operation. The primary data will collect through the primary data we will collect from the satellite based imagery. Primary data will collect from the satellite based imagery, and whenever there will be loss in certain areas, then that will be mapped through the application of drone based this from based software programs. But these are the different initiatives in the IT sectors which we have taken for the last 2 3 years. Now, in another 2 3 years, I think many things will be become IT enabled in Haryana. Now, the last thing which I would like to express is now in the Haryana now is in the mode of creating an e-office. Now, everything will be through digital form. There will be no file movement in the next 1 year. There are certain department phase wise they have chosen. There are 3 phases. We are in the second phase now. Our turn has come up. In the next 6 months, we have to digitize everything. All the records will be digitized, and all the movements will be only through this e-office. There will be no physical movement of the files. Now this is how the IT has included into the agriculture sector, not only in the field but in the office also. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Saini. Thank you for giving overview of Haryana government uh, initiative and vision for agriculture and horticulture sector. So now we are almost at the end of the session. So before we wrap up the session, I would like to have a closing remark, brief closing remark from all of you. Uh, what should be done to create more job opportunities, modern facilities for agriculture sector, and how do you see it happening in next 5 years? We'll have policymakers' perspective from Mr. Nand Kishore first, and then next speakers. Mr. Nand Kishore, over to you. Sir,
Actually,
please unmute
please
yourself.
repeat.
Yeah.
I was on a phone, so just please repeat for it.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted a closing remark, like what needs to be done to create more job opportunities, more facilities for agriculture sector.
Okay. Just I was discussing that, and you also very clearly told that supply chain management is very very important, and we should shift our focus from production orientation to our market orientation. And up to some extent, we have to give focus on post-harvest management. And in my view, it should be on-farm post-harvest management. Otherwise, again, at least minimal post-harvest management. Like if tomato growers are there, they can, if price really glut situation there, they can make at least pulp out of that, and they can send to the different industry and all. So some sort of arrangement, such kind of arrangement is required, which is really will be helpful in such situations which we are facing like COVID, and ultimately it will be helpful in providing benefit to the farmer, and they will certainly get better price what they are getting today.
Thank you. Professor Eskedas. Sir, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think, we need to go to hub and spoke model in the two sectors. One is the knowledge creation, knowledge generation, technology generation. Another is implementation. As Mr. Mukund Rao said very correctly, on the knowledge creation sector, we can have one leading institution, and they will coordinate between different institutions who will be doing different things. Not that everybody starts doing the same thing. See, if somebody is working on water, let the other institute work on soil, let the third one work on IoTs, let the fourth one work on communication systems, and so on. So there should be a leader, a hub, and a scope as far as technology development is concerned. On the other hand, as Mr. Mukundrao has said very correctly, a social organization who will go into the implementation. So implementation at the first level will be the pilot level, as they are doing for 1.5 lakh farmers in Odisha. They are doing similarly. Take up some community in Haryana, some community in Chandigarh, like that. I mean, in Punjab and so on. So that organization will be acting as a central one and connect others. So once this is successful, then comes the major push from the government. Then government creates an infrastructure where the results of these pilot studies are taken and implemented at large. So I think this is the model by which we need to move. That's the way forward, in my opinion.
Correct. That's where the future lies. Dr. Mukund, what's your views?
Yeah, I think that while this hub and spoke model that was spoken and also the socially facing organizational platforms are all required, I also feel there are some two, three very important things that the government agencies must do. And one is they have to really make a very good efforts to create a data platform in each and every state. The data platform should be starting at the agricultural cadastre level, at the plot level, and involve a lot of satellite images and let the contributions of weather data and all those things come. So I think we need this data platform in every state. And that should be a shareable and accessible data platform rather than a restricted data platform. So the more you allow public agencies, government agencies, non-governmental agencies to access those data platforms, a lot of results is going to come out. And I fully agree with Professor Das that we need a lot of pilots to be done. One pilot we have done in Odisha, it is giving us some experience, but the pilot in Punjab will be very different experience than the pilot in Meghalaya. So I think we need some pilots to be done, and this is where government also should support this activity. All the investments that are going to happen into these sectors of data, platform, technology, and all those things are really social good activities. And they are all going to return some good things in the future. As far as the technology is concerned, I can tell you technology is very mature and far ahead, far advanced from what we require. But it is these organizational frameworks, the social aspects in the country, the governmental role of creating and motivating these data platforms, these are very much required, I feel.
Correct, sir. Now we would take views of Mr. Amit Noor.
So, what I think is that the COVID has shown us the resilience of agriculture, and I think we'll start seeing shift of budgets, both from the public sector and from the private sector to agriculture from other industries, and I think what needs to be done is a lot of collaboration, like the people speaking before me said, between different regions, between the private and public sector. At the end of the day, if we're able to bring this digital infrastructure, these data platforms that enable to connect everybody together, that will be able to improve the entire ecosystem, that will be able to create new jobs. And I think at the end of the day, when you look 5 years forward, information technology is the key in order to optimize the agriculture operations. And I think that everybody understands that it's going that way, but we need a lot of collaboration between different players in the ecosystem in order to work together. Because if everybody will work in a silo, we won't get the value that we can from information technology. And I think that the idea is to see how we use this data, how we leverage the data for connecting everybody together.
So now we will take closing remarks from Dr. Sani, what he feels about.
Yeah, everybody is saying it's the right thing, is the right or not. There are three vertical, parallel verticals. One is backward integration, and then the central integration and the forward integration. What we call is in Haryana, what we are doing and what should be, I think, is important to know is The backward integration means the crop management, the crop production management, and IT has more and more applications, more and more role to be played at the back end, at the farm level itself. There are the precision farming technologies. There are the IT technologies at the advisory levels also. And the center level means, and I mean to say, is the pack houses and the aggregation levels, where there's a lot of technology are required to be done. There are a lot of technology available also, but the application is more important on those running those pack houses. We are still running with the old type of methods of making inventories, all those things. I think that digitization of all those warehouses and at the farmer level, they of course the warehouses of the at corporate level is they are much advanced. But when we are talking about the small margin or other farmers, then at the farmers level or FPO level, there's a lot more things to be done. And then third is the vertical is the forward integration, the market integrations. And now nothing is moving without IT now. The moment they move from one pack house, and it may move to the number of purchasers, until unless we have that IT enabled software programs, it becomes very difficult to track all those things. Now traceability is another thing, then it become only possible when we integrate all those verticals into one, and it's the only IT which through IT it can happen. I think government departments is to be more sensitized on these issues. There must be some IT cadre within the departments. Now the time has come to understand agriculture vis-a-vis IT. As of now, IT is standalone, other than it's in isolation is being seen within agriculture departments or horticulture department, whatever, animal husbandry or fishery department. Now that integration, that IT role of IT must understood by all the policymakers, and that is their great scope in lot more and more job creations in agriculture, and by that way, I think there will be a lot of employment generations within rural folk also. Means whatever will happen, two verticals of the backward integration and the pack houses management, that will happen at the rural level, and the lot more people from the rural side and the IT professionals will get good job opportunities over there. And the market level, of course, these are more of the professional other things. This is how I perceive in the next few years, where the IT will have more greater role to play in agriculture and agri-business activities. That's all from my side.
Thank you. I think everyone talked very well about the role of IT, and what I feel after this discussion, that IT is the key, and every farmer in India should get the access to knowledge, information, and infrastructure, so that he can maximize his income, and he can get sustainable returns in agriculture activities. I would agree to the speakers, those who said more collaborations are needed to create more jobs. We need good infrastructure. We need integration of all these technological services, so that farmers, agri markets, and government come under one umbrella, so that farmers are benefited, government is benefited, and we get good results. With this, I would like to thank all the eminent panelists for sharing your expertise and views about the topic of this session. The topic was role of information technology in agriculture and allied sectors. The future is here. So we briefly discussed about the topic, and I would like to thank all of you. Before we wrap up the session, I would request my technical team at the back end to present the speaker certificates as a token of regard to all the eminent speakers of this session. So thank you, Dr. Arjun Singh Saini, Director General, Department of Horticulture, Government of Haryana, for joining us. Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your views. Thank you, Shri Nand Kishore, Director of Horticulture, Government of Bihar. Thank you for joining us, sir. Thank you, Professor S.K. Das, Director, Indian Institute of Technology, the think tank, IIT Ropar, Punjab. Mr. Sumnesh Joshi was not able to join. He was called for a urgent meeting by his boss. Next, please. Thank you, Dr. Mukund Rao, Chief Executive of NIS, for sharing your expertise and vision for uh, future of agriculture. Thank you, Mr. Amit Nom, Chief Executive Officer of Agritask. He actually is representing Israel Embassy. Uh, his counselor, Science and Agriculture, was supposed to join us, but due to some urgent meeting, he has sent his representative, Mr. Amit. Thank you all of you for joining us and sharing your expertise and views at Agriculture Innovation Summit. With this, I would end this session here, and we will be moving on to the next session. The next session is agriculture marketing, food processing, innovations in supply chain and inventory management, the new order in the post-COVID era. Thank you, sir. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.